This one right here is the Boya variety. This over here is the Bamenda variety. And then over here, we have the Fumbot variety. Everybody, welcome back. I am super excited for today's video because I will be talking about the different varieties of Jamanjama, that is the Garden Huckleberry, so that you can know which one is best suited for your needs. If we're just meeting for the first time, I am YAJE and I do grow African vegetables out here in my garden in Texas. So there are three main varieties of the Jamanjama or the Garden Huckleberry that is cultivated in Cameroon, and the varieties are kind of named after the towns or the cities where you would find the Jamanjama cultivated. We have the Boya variety, which is cultivated like in the southwest region of Cameroon. We have the Bamenda variety, which is cultivated in Bamenda or in the northwest region of Cameroon. And then we have the Bamoun or the Fumbot variety, which is cultivated in the western region or western province of Cameroon. So I'm just going to quickly go through all of the varieties and talk about, how to tell the differences based on how they look. I'm also going to talk about the taste profile. I'll talk about shrinkage. I'm also going to discuss which one does best in a container versus raised bed versus in ground. That is so that if you are maybe in an apartment and you're thinking of growing the Jamanjama, you can know which ones to grow. I'm going to start with this one. This is the Bamoun variety. The Bamoun variety, also known as the Fumbot, is again cultivated in the west region of Cameroon. And this one here grows tall. It grows really tall. It has green stems, and the stems are very thick and the leaves are very broad. In terms of taste, if we were to rate the taste from 1 to 10, I personally would give the Fumbot variety maybe a 7 on 10. It tastes good, but some would argue that it doesn't taste as good as the other varieties. As far as the shrinkage, how much of it disappears when you cook it, people in Cameroon will say it is lost for pot, just meaning that when you cook it, it really reduces to almost nothing, and that's because of the water content. This one shrinks when you cook it. And because the leaves are very broad, normally you would have to kind of cut the leaves or chop the leaves before you cook it. Otherwise, you end up with, very huge leaves, which is not the best. So this one, you normally have to slice it before you cook it. I like to cook this variety saute it with onions and tomatoes and maybe some egusi. This one works best. Yes, all of the Jamanjama you can grow in ground directly, but this one does particularly well. I would say I would recommend it for container gardening because, again, it grows tall, has broad leaves, so you don't need as much to get a harvest. So if you're doing container gardening and you have access to the Bamoun variety, I will recommend that. And then this one here is the Boya variety, which is kind of cultivated around the southwest region of Cameroon. That's where I grew up. I'm not from there, but I was born in the southwest region of Cameroon and I grew up there. And this is the variety that we used to buy from the market. So this one grows tall, but it grows tall too, but I think not as tall as that Bamoun variety. And the stems, the major difference between this and that Bamoun is that the stems are not as thick. So the stems are narrower, it grows tall, the leaves are big. This is sometimes referred to as the big leaf Jamanjama. The leaves are big, but not as broad as the Bamoun variety. Usually in the markets, you will find the vegetable harvested and then tied in bundles because the stems are that tall. As far as shrinkage, it shrinks too, but not as much as the Bamoun variety, I want to say. And you can cook the leaves whole, or if you find that the leaves are too big, you can also chop the leaves before cooking this. As far as the taste goes, I will give the Boya variety maybe about a 7 on 10. So the Bamoun was a 7 on 10, and the Boya, I'm going to give it a 7 on 10. And then this last one here is the Bamenda variety. This is the favorite for the people in the Northwest region. People claim that this Bamenda variety has the best flavor profile, so we'll give it like a 10 on 10. This Bamenda one doesn't grow as tall. It is very dark. It's darker in color, maybe purplish, black stems. Sometimes it's even called the black leaf Jamanjama. So now let me tell you which one I would recommend. Now, that Jamanjama is very easy to cultivate. So if you are a beginner gardener or you live like in an apartment complex, I am going to recommend that you do the Jamanjama. The Boya Jamanjama can be cultivated in containers, but I think it's best for raised beds. It is also beginner friendly. The Bamenda one, I am not going to recommend it for beginners because it is more difficult to manage. That is in my opinion. The growing cycle for it is not as it's not as long. I find that you can harvest the Boya and the Jamanjama over a longer period of time because it doesn't get strong, as we refer to it. Like the leaves don't, they continue to be soft enough for you to cook.